The Financial Action Task Force is a global financial watchdog on international terror financing. India has been pursuing the 37-member global body to ensure funds availability to terrorists and terrorist organizations can effectively be choked. Indian diplomats scored a major victory when the Financial Action Task Force in its latest meeting put Pakistan on a 90 days notice to explain in writing what action had been taken to deny funds to terrorists like Hafiz Saeed and terrorist organizations like the Jamaat-ud-Dawa and Falai-Insaniyat Foundation. Even Pakistan's all-weather friend China could not bail Islamabad out this time. Geeta Mohan gets us our top story. In action against the mastermind of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks and designated global terrorist Hafiz Saeed has put Pakistan in the dock. The 37-member global watchdog on terror funding has put Pakistan on 90 days notice to explain in writing action taken to check funds available to designated global terror organizations like Jamaat-ud-Dawa and its front Falai-Insaniyat Foundation. It's being seen as a massive victory for India in isolating Pakistan on terror funding. China rose to Pakistan's defense like at the United Nations, but none of the other members of the Financial Action Task Force came to defend Pakistan on India's strong contention that Islamabad had failed to penalize or curb activities of UN-designated terror groups. India had earlier raised the issue of funds being generated in Pakistan by UN-designated terrorist organizations and individuals like Hafiz Saeed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. The Lashkar-e-Taiba or Jamaat-ud-Dawa and Falai-Insaniyat Foundation are all on the UN list of banned global terror organizations. Yet, Pakistan has taken no visible or credible action against the group or its individuals who've even traveled up to Yemen to generate funds.
Despite its best efforts, despite its economic clout, despite its monetary clout, China failed to muster any support whatsoever, and no country was willing to back up China as far as terrorism from Pakistan is concerned.
The 37-member global watchdog works on naming and shaming countries failing to act against terror funding. Countries like Pakistan risk being put either on the grey list or the blacklist of nations that have taken no action against UN-designated terror individuals or organizations. State Bank of Pakistan has now been given till February 2018 to submit in writing action taken so far to check availability of funds to terrorists like Hafiz Saeed and organizations like Jamaat-ud-Dawa and Falai-Insaniyat Foundation.
In a huge blow to Pakistan and a diplomatic win for India, FATF, that's the Financial Action Task Force, has asked Pakistan to show details as to what is it that they've done to rein in terror financing that goes on within Pakistan. Pakistan has done very little to ensure that these terror networks are reined in, particularly when it comes to terror financing. And in that, China was completely isolated, with all countries siding with India. With video journalist Sanjay Khan in New Delhi, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan joins me for more on the story. Also joining us from Beijing is our China Bureau Chief Anant Krishnan. But I want to quickly cut across to our guest on the broadcast from Pakistan, Qamar Cheema, a noted defense and security affairs analyst. Mr. Cheema, Pakistan now isolated when it comes to action against terrorists. Will Pakistan now take action against terrorists like Hafiz Saeed, sir? Now that the global watchdog, financial watchdog, FATF is watching you, you're on 90 days notice?
Well, I think let me correct you what you are doing. First of all, the Financial Action Task Force is a non-governmental organization, and it has already cleared back in 2015 that Pakistan is not involved in any kind of money laundering or terror financing. First thing.
That was in 2015. I'm talking about 2017.
Let me finish the argument.
Sir,
let me finish the argument.
Sir, no, but why make a flawed argument? Sir, this happened at the Financial Action Task Force meeting that took place on Thursday. Sir, this is the latest meeting. You've been given 90 days to submit a report on what action you've taken against terrorists like Hafiz Saeed.
Let me tell you, the point is that you have raised the point that under UN Security Council Resolution 1267 and 1373, the FATF need to ask Pakistan. The basic common sense question is that the resolution came from United Nations Security Council. How can a non-governmental organization ask Pakistan to implement the resolution? But the point is that Security Council and United Nations is not asking us, and a non-government organization sitting in Paris is demanding from Pakistan. Well, Pakistan is also a member of the International Convention on Suppression of Financing of Terrorism in United Nations General Assembly. The UN body which has given this resolution is not asking Pakistan, is clearing Pakistan, and Pakistan, let me tell you.
I am sorry,
Pakistan,
it did not clear Pakistan, and let me get Geeta Mohan. Sir, अरे सर अपने आप से तो सच बोल लो, अपने देश से तो सच बोल लो. China vetoed action. China as a permanent member vetoed action at the United Nations. Geeta Mohan, please tell our guests from Pakistan whether Pakistan can risk being on that grey list or the blacklist of that so-called non-governmental organization, and why did Pakistan scramble to put Hafiz Saeed under a sham house arrest in January this year, Geeta?
Well, the one thing that Kamar Chima was right about, Gaurav, is the fact that FATF, Financial Action Task Force, indeed is a non-governmental organization.
Yes,
but that does not take away... Kamar Chima, let me complete. But that does not take away from the fact, Gaurav, that there is immense amount of pressure on countries that participate in FATF meetings, including Pakistan, to comply and to be a part of the compliance when it comes to terror financing or financing that could go for wrongful activities. And in that, Pakistan has also participated. There is a reason why, Gaurav, China was trying to ensure that this ruling or this decision of the FATF is that FATF does not come out with such a ruling. But China was isolated because in FATF and in this grouping, the International Cooperation Review Group, meeting that took place in Argentina, there are two countries that are required to voice the same opinion for a decision to be scuttled. China here was isolated, and no other country really rose up to the occasion for Pakistan. They all sided with India because of the concerns that all countries have had with regards to terror financing. While they're not an implementing body and they cannot force Pakistan to act, but there has been an impact on what FATF has said in the past as well.
Absolutely. One very clearly. Geeta, let's take this step by step. And I want Kamar Chima to appreciate this fact that Pakistan dare not once again either be on the grey list, risk being on the grey list, or risk being on the blacklist. This may well be an NGO, but it can name and shame Pakistan into compliance, and which is why Pakistan put Hafiz Saeed under that sham house arrest. Kamar Chima, you need to wake up to that. But let me quickly bring in Anant Krishnan from Beijing for more on this. Anant, how is China reacting to having failed to protect Pakistan? It may have used its veto at the United Nations. It has no veto at the FATF.
Well, that's exactly right. China has been very vocal this past week in its support of Pakistan. First, on November 2nd, China had vetoed the UN Security Council Sanctions Committee resolution to sanction Masood Azhar, Beijing very publicly saying that it felt that the international community should recognize Pakistan's efforts on counter-terrorism. But on the other hand, at the FATF, China suffered a diplomatic setback. Unlike the UNSC committee, where one country could veto the move, two countries were needed and China was isolated. So in a sense, it was a diplomatic embarrassment. So Beijing has been very silent about its setback at the FATF, even while publicly being a very, very strong vocal supporter of Pakistan, as it has been in recent years on the terrorism issue.
So, Kamar Chima, I hope you appreciate facts now. This may well be an NGO. It may well be an NGO, but can Pakistan risk being on its grey list or blacklist of being a state sponsor of terror, sir?
Well, let me raise a very basic and common sense question. All these 37 members of the FATF are also members of the UN General Assembly, and among them the members in the Security Council. They are not talking in Security Council and General Assembly. They are talking in non-governmental
organizations. China vetoed it there. Why can't you understand that? China vetoed it there. Here China does not have a veto.
Binding. Anything that is binding on us is Security Council and the UN General Assembly. A non-government organization already cleared Pakistan, and you are trying to raise a very diplomatic victory in India.
In 2017,
and look, this is what China has done.
Kamar
Come
Chima,
up with some stance. I was thinking,
if your government also thinks like you, then you're in deep trouble, sir. If your government also thinks like you, then your government is in deep trouble. Your government has 90 days to give in writing.
The job of the Security Council as the Security Council and ask us, not a non-governmental organization can ask us.
You dare say that to FATF. I dare Pakistan to say that to the FATF.
So just a kind of a propaganda
FATF is Indian propaganda? Really? Really?
This is a propaganda.
Really?
Where is the Security Council?
Geeta Mohan.
Where is the propaganda?
Where is the propaganda?
Gaurav, the fact of the matter is that Kamar Chima will have to remember one thing, that if FATF is not important and is only an NGO, then why is Pakistan engaging FATF? Why is Pakistan trying to prove or has been trying to send details to FATF? There is a reason, because it will change the dynamics of how finances and financial institutions are engaged with by the international community. And a case in point is the Habib Bank operations being shut down in New York. That was one of the biggest blows to Pakistan.
That was not because of Pakistan. That was because the money came from Saudi Arabia to Habib Bank, New York. This is not because of Pakistan. The money went from
We are talking about terror financing, Kamar Chima. We are talking about terror financing, Kamar Chima, and there is a problem that exists which the international community and financial institutions. But you do agree that the FATF reports on what was happening and the goings on is the reason why the financial institutions of Pakistan are now in question.
You know, Habib Bank was step one. The State Bank of Pakistan now, Kamar Chima, has 90 days to give in writing what action it's taken against terrorists like Hafiz Saeed.
It has already cleared us.
It may have cleared you in 2015.
What's the point in it?
It is now 2017. And your credentials are once again in the grey.
We have financial monitoring unit in State Bank of Financial Monitoring Unit in State Bank of Pakistan.
Please look at the decision.
I'm a little disappointed, Kamar Chima. You're not well versed with the latest developments, sir.
It also blocked 4,400 bank accounts. So the question is, we are doing our job. And let me tell you, the US State Department report says that there are 68.
Sir, are you not aware, or are you pretending you're not aware of what happened in Argentina this Thursday?
Do not give us lessons. 68 people of Daesh has been caught in India. The US State Department's report 2016 says that.
Forget about what is happening in India.
The US State Department says that.
Why must you compare everything with what's happening in India? I am independently asking you a question as a commentator in Pakistan.
On controlling terror financing. Let me show you the report of the Hindu. Your own newspaper says that India needs to do a lot of work on controlling the terror financing. The Hindu reports from India.
Forget what Indian media is saying. We are showing you. Okay, for a moment, take a break, Kamar Chima. I think you're either unaware of what happened in Argentina in this latest meeting, or you're pretending that you don't know what is happening, because your country has 90 days. State Bank of Pakistan has 90 days to give in writing what action it's taken against terrorists like Hafiz Saeed, and to ensure that outfits like Falah Insaniyat Foundation, Jamaat Dawa, Lashkar-e-Taiba do not have access to funds. They are still getting funds. And that is where you're in deep trouble, sir.
Hafiz Saeed is a liability for Pakistan. And Pakistani authorities need to be tough on Hafiz Saeed.
But they are not.
We have been talking on that again and again.
But they are not tough on Hafiz Saeed.
Those need to be implemented.
Where is the FIR on Hafiz Saeed?
Letter and spirit.
Where is the FIR on Hafiz Saeed? Where is the FIR? Why is he not being prosecuted?
The question is that I am not the spokesman of the Pakistani government, but what I am saying is that the question is that Hafiz Saeed has been detained and the Pakistani government needs to be tough on Hafiz Saeed. He's not an asset for Pakistan. He's liability for Pakistan. And the government needs to be tough on that. I have my own personal perspective. I am not the spokesman of the government of Pakistan.
No, I'm asking you as a commentator. I'm asking you as a commentator, will Pakistan government now take effective action, Qamar Cheema? I mean, I appreciate the fact, and I'm glad you think that Hafiz Mohammed Saeed is a liability. He's a liability not just on Pakistan, he's a liability on the world, and unfortunately, he's not the only one. You have a Maulana Masood Azhar, you have a Zakir Rahman Naqvi, you have a Zarar Shah. Your country is full of terrorists.
If you just look at the actions, all countries have raised proxies. So is India doing right now in Afghanistan.
India has no terrorists.
The Indian proxies in Afghanistan working. So the government did back in when the Kashmir issue was burning. That was a wrong step and we do not own it.
No, but you are still taking no action against terrorists based in Pakistan.
The government
is taking no action. Your country is taking no action against terrorist organizations like Lashkar-e-Taiba, like Hizbul Mujahideen, like Jamaat
Dawa. But the government needs to take
Sayyid Salahuddin, no action, sir. I'm glad you think so. I'm glad you think so, that Hafiz Saeed is a liability, but he's not the only liability. Jamaat Dawa and Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, Maulana Masood Azhar, Sayyid Salahuddin, Dawood Ibrahim, your country is so full of liabilities, not just for Pakistan,
some of these are politicized. Dawood Ibrahim is not in Pakistan, we don't blame. I think there are certain rhetorics that are coming from India. Those rhetorics must not be all the time.
So let us wait and watch. Let us wait and watch what action does Pakistan take in these 90 days. Sir, we have 90
your
days.
Entire story is flawed. The Security Council is not asking us. UN General Assembly is not asking us.
If the China veto is removed, the UN Security Council will also take it to the cleaners. But don't worry, India is working on that also. Qamar Cheema, for the moment, many thanks for joining me, sir. I also want to thank my colleague Geeta Mohan and Anant Krishnan in Beijing. But I want to continue talking about China because Beijing is back to its classic doublespeak on Arunachal Pradesh. Even as it carries out illegal development activities and builds the China-Pakistan economic corridor through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, Beijing has objected to Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's visit to border posts in Arunachal Pradesh. India has officially not responded so far to Beijing's rant, but sources say it will be treated with the contempt it deserves. Shiv Arur with this report.
The dragon dares India again. Rattled by Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's visit to Arunachal Pradesh, China has objected angrily to the visit. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson called Defence Minister Sitharaman's visit not conducive to peace and tranquility between India and China. India has officially not reacted to China's statement, but strategic affairs commentators say China's objections should be treated with the contempt they deserve. In the past too, China has objected to leaders visiting Arunachal Pradesh, an area China calls Southern Tibet. Relations between the two Asian giants have been at an all-time low this year. China's double standards were exposed when it acted at the behest of its all-weather friend Pakistan and blocked India's bid to put sanctions on Pathankot and Parliament terror attack mastermind Maulana Masood Azhar of the Jaish-e-Mohammed. With Anant Krishnan in Beijing, Bureau Report, India Today.
Disturbing news coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. There's an encounter in Pulwama in the Kashmir Valley. What we are now learning is that 2 Jawans were injured in this encounter. Unfortunately, one of them has passed away. He succumbed to his injuries. This is an encounter between security forces and terrorists of the Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist organization that is currently on in the Pulwama district. This encounter started after the CRPF and the 44th Battalion of the Rashtriya Rifles were conducting a cordon and search operation after a very specific tip-off about terrorists operating in this area. Now, according to sources, 3 Hizbul Mujahideen terrorists are reportedly hiding in this area where there's a fierce encounter that's currently underway. What we're being told is that a top Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist, Samir Tiger, is believed to be holed up in this area, and now this entire area has been cordoned off. What we're also being told is one civilian was injured in the crossfire. Well, we will continue to track developments on the story very closely, but that is all I have time for on India First this evening. Many thanks for watching. Padmaja Joshi comes up next with the latest in what polls predict in Himachal Pradesh.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.